Okay, if you're lacking time to practice rudiments, here are the 7 you should focus on to improve your drumming. They appear in literally every single style of music: rock, jazz, funk, gospel, so master these to become as versatile as possible. Let's get straight into it. Just to say, I didn't want to use the cheap route out of this video and use ones like single stroke, double stroke, so we're going to be going a little bit more in depth than that. Okay, for the single stroke, 2 drummers come into mind for me, and that's definitely Philly Joe Jones for the jazz sort of thing, but also Travis Barker. So let's get into the clips and show you how to play the rudiment. Okay, hopefully from that example you can kind of see that the 6th stroke is an accent, 2 sets of doubles, and then another accent. Then that kind of rolls over and you can use the doubles in between, like that, to go like this. And I kind of want to talk about 3 use case scenarios. So the first one is that sort of like James Brown style groove. We'll sometimes start off with a sort of strict 6th stroke feel like this. That's a common case that I've seen it in. For example, it comes up a lot in jazz. You can do whole solos with it. For example, that sort of stuff is very, very common in jazz. You can do almost like, say, whole solos with it. And then finally, it's that sort of Travis Barker thing that I was mentioning. I've seen clips of him mentioning he did those long fills. For example, I can't remember the song. I'll put it up here where he goes like. Fast, like pop punk stuff. So. Okay, for the Paradiddle-Diddle and the double Paradiddle, I've got Vinny Colaiuta, especially on those songs with Sting. He's really, really creative with how he uses it. And yeah, let's get into the clips. Okay, for this one I'm actually going to combine the Paradiddle-Diddle making sure you're not doing this. Yeah, because that's not a Paradiddle-Diddle, it's kind of a tripleted Paradiddle-Diddle, if that makes sense. With the double Paradiddle. My favourite use case, which you kind of saw there, which is using them together and rolling around the kit with them. So you can combine them with sort of 6-stroke rolls and 5-stroke rolls in there, and you can get some really fast rolls around the kit. So I just thought I'd put them together to show you my favourite use case of those 2. All right, for the Flam Tap, I'm a big fan of Larnell Lewis. Even if I don't give an example from him, yeah, I just thought you should be aware of him. So yeah, let's get into the clips. Okay, next up an interesting rudiment, and that's the Flam Tap. So it literally is Flam Tap, like. Yeah, main use case I see it a lot in jazz, for example, like transitioning between flams. And you get some nice fills like this. And it is also nice to get used to that feeling of transitioning between the flams and the singles. You can do sort of more classic rock stuff, so it sort of smells like Teen Spirits. And yeah, that's a really good use case of that sort of stuff. For lesson 25, we have got Benny Greb for that sort of like rock and fusion sort of thing. He's really, really good at incorporating it into his grooves, so it sort of makes it a little bit more different. So yeah, let's go. Okay, and so next up we've got lesson 25, which is just... You can get a lot of military stuff out of that. A lot of marching snare band sort of stuff. You can get a load of groovy stuff with that. Yeah, I quite like that as well. Obviously, as jazz, you can kind of just move it around the kit. You can move anything around the kit nice and quick like that in jazz and it will sound nice. So yeah, nice and simple rudiment, very, very versatile. Okay, next up we've got the 5-stroke roll, a very versatile rudiment used by lots of jazz drummers. I think Dave Weckl here comes to mind for the prime example of a man that uses the 5-stroke well. Okay, so I've got a couple of use cases for the 5-stroke roll. The first one is sort of not a stretch, but it is a 5-stroke, so just more like a triplet sort of feel. And it's used in a lot of Steely Dan tunes, lots of feels like this. So it's sort of fast 5-stroke roll. Sort of no gap feel in between. Second off, there's loads of examples in jazz. Adding a stick shot to the end of it is quite common. So yeah, just giving you some ideas to sort of play around with. So yeah, that's adding a stick shot at the end. Okay, when I think of the Ratamacue, a sort of D&B example comes to mind, and that is Jojo Maya. So yeah, he's very, very creative with the way he uses it, and so yeah, let's learn how to play it. Okay, and for our last rudiment, we've got the Ratamacue. So our typical Ratamacue looks like this. I'm going to lengthen that out a little bit for this use case. So, and I'm going to add some more accents in. So the last one, the usual one, usually has the accent on the end. What I'm doing is I'm lengthening it out and adding accents on all the other ones. That's really good for a sort of intro to a groove. Or even in sort of a Latin groove. Yeah, just go have a play around with it. It's a really nice sort of intro to a song. So yeah, it might be a little bit shorter video than usual, but yeah, if you have enjoyed, do drop a like, do drop a sub, check out the other videos. And yeah, do have a good rest of your day. Thanks.